happy Friday. I hope everybody is having a great evening and your weekend is off to a fantastic start. And I appreciate you joining me here. And I sincerely hope that I am actually talking to you because I'm once again having all sorts of technical problems here. And I do not know what my problem is, but nothing's working. Anyway, I've got the Matches Memorial Friday Sabanelli as is tradition, and it is filled with Haunted Bookshop, which is also a tradition here. And I see we've already got some folks. I saw Steve Russell and Tim Fournier both showed up early. There's Voodoo07. How you doing, Voodoo? Kevin Dooling. Good to see you, Kevin. SoCal Piper. Big Dave. The Mad Piper. Todd Munson. Pipe Writer. How you doing, buddy? And did we get Central Cal Piper already? I don't think so. So how you doing, Central Cal Piper? Signal Man Tony from Rhode Island. How's it going, Tony? And Robert Miller. And I saw Mushroom Leg pop up earlier. Gabba Gabba. It made me laugh because I was actually thinking of making, I put these little, I don't even know what to call them. I write stuff on the opening bumper for these live streams. And they're just random things that come into my head most of the time. And I was going to write, you got to keep your feet in from a hopping cretin. And I just didn't think anybody would get it. And then he comes along with Gabba Gabba. So anyway, thank you for that, Mushroom Leg. There's Kentucky Highland Piper, Tramper Scott, the Mad Piper, Ron Hardcrackers, storming in East Oklahoma. Hopefully the tornadoes will stay at bay, Ron. And Dryfly Fisher 11, good evening to you, Sir Paul Johnson. Stanley Smith, how's it going, Stanley? Beowulf and Miss Kathy, how you guys doing? Good to see you tonight. Got your message, Steve. Haven't had a minute to respond, so maybe sometime tomorrow morning we'll catch up. And here we are. Boy, it's been another heck of a week, I'll tell you. Happy to see Friday come, but I'm currently undergoing what I'm going to start calling the curse of vacation, because in theory I'm going to be going on vacation in the coming weeks. Now, the first vacation is going to Pittsburgh to take my wife and mother-in-law to see Bruce Hornsby. I ain't so sure that's a vacation, but I'm sure I'll have a good time. But not, for me a vacation is, probably sitting right here smoking a pipe would be ideal, but that's not going to happen. So the next week we're going to go to the beach with my wife's two sisters and her mother and father, which would be fine except for the fact that I'm currently taking bets on whether my wife and her two sisters stop talking to one another before we leave or while we're actually there. So that'll be fun. Yeah, so the problem isn't that we're going on vacation. The problem is that now we're in we have to get ready for vacation period. So my wife's actually out shopping right now because you got to shop before you go on vacation, apparently. And I got to shop, so that this weekend I'm going to be... I actually thought to myself, oh, darn, it's Friday. I'm going to have to deal with this vacation stuff tomorrow. I don't know. Anyway, some people just live in a different world. Big Country Briar, hello, good to see you tonight. Let's see, Tim Fournier, he's running so far away. Good deal, Steve. There's Bona Piper, good evening, Christian. Gary Edminster. Sorry about that, Central Cal Piper, but I hope your wife had a good nap. There's Armchair Piper, hello, Ed, good to see you tonight. Jeffrey Feinberg. Fantastic. Great crowd already. So, I might do a box opening later. A live box opening. That's something you don't see on a live Yabo. When's the last time you saw one of... I just happen to have a box and I want something that's inside it for my second pipe. But right now I'm enjoying the Haunted Bookshop and some of Pennsylvania's finest. There's Codger Jim. Stock up on whiskey. Anyone who goes on vacation with a relative. Yeah, I might take a flask. I actually have a hip flask, and I might just take it. Michael Case, I am going to be doing some saltwater fishing while we're at the beach. I don't like saltwater fishing, but my father-in-law really wants me to take him fishing, and he's he's not going fishing by himself, certainly. So it'll be nice to spend time with him. Can I instigate an argument between my... Yes, Steve Russell, I can. I won't because they're horrible. Oh no, Big Dave. I'm gonna leave you to read Big Dave's comment. I'm not gonna read that one. I don't want to be responsible. Texas Piper, how's it going, Eddie? Long time no see indeed. Good to see you. Yes, yes, Beowulf. I do that sometimes, but this is I'm being told that this is one I have to go on. I got a question from Poem. That's a nice name there, Poem. Wondering what length billiard do I prefer and bowl outer diameter and height? Well, Poem, I can't give you numbers because I don't know. I like a smaller billiard. Of course, I don't have one here. No, of course I don't have one here. Back here? No. You know, about the length of the 7L, you know, so not much longer. And I like a smaller, lighter ball because I clench a lot, but I also do like deep, wide bowls for burleys. So I've got a collection of both, you know, and the deep, wide bowls tend to be a bit longer. They're not really clenchers because then they got a lot of leverage. But, you know, surprisingly, one of the pipes I'm really enjoying these days is that little Demi Lovato that I made, which I made up the name Demi Lovato. But it's short. It's a short billiard with a relatively short stem and a fairly tall bowl. And that pipe is treating me well. So not a good answer, Palm, I know, but that's about it. Gary and Mr. Coors Light Peterson house pipe with the usual. Sounds good, Gary. Stanley Smith's got 2 weeks to grandkid season. That's always fun, Stanley. Yes, Michael. Good advice. If you can't see the water, don't eat the fish. And that's one good thing about these beach vacations. You do get some good seafood. Oh, Big Dave, we got to get you some other hobbies. That one scared me a little. Although I guess when I think about it, it wasn't much worse than Betty or Wilma. So if you say so, Big Country Briar. Looks very musical of you. Um, I do like I like, but I sometimes like the small ones too. It's really hard for me to pin down. I think I just like pipes. Is the bottom line. Wasn't there a Debbie Lovato? There might have been. I hope that I don't get sued. Welsh Piper, good morning. Good to see you. And there's the smooth piper, Peter. Peter's got some haunted bookshop at his Friday 7, fantastic. So, what else did I want to mention? There's something I wanted to say. Oh, I was talking about the the little intro blurbs. Why did I bring that? Oh, the Ramones thing. Yeah. Um, and I was thinking as I was talking about that I write those things. I don't know if any of you read them. They're not worth reading. I don't expect anybody to read them, but I write them, and I was thinking tonight as I was writing one for next week that I really should keep track of the ones that I reject and do a show where I just read them to you, because let me put it this way, most of them I reject because I think, oh no, Tim will have a field day with that one. So it's amazing what the mind comes up with that you then have to ponder and realize what the mind might have actually been thinking while you weren't paying attention. Nording hair pipe, anyone have one? Odd cam insert way up in the stem that appears to align the off-center drill to the stem hole. Huh, that sounds very unusual, Poem. I don't know that pipe. Maybe somebody else is familiar with the Nording hair pipe. Raspberry beret. Thank you, Tim. That's interesting, Big Dave. I thought the Jetsons. I thought there was more Jetsons than 24 episodes. Kevin Doolin, you're asking the wrong guy about Big and Burly. If you're asking me, I would say yes. It's very English, but everybody else says that you can barely taste the Latakia. So, yes, Tim, I am always thinking of you. Well, maybe not always. There you go, Texas Piper's explaining. Yeah. Lynn Hill Breyer, howdy to you. And there's Couch. Good to see you, Couch. Yeah, Tramper Scott, I like the Jetsons too. I think I might actually, this is going to probably sound like sacrilege, but I probably prefer the Jetsons to the Flintstones. Because for me, the Flintstones were something that was on during the week. Like I associated with school, whereas the Jetsons were a Saturday thing, and I associated more with the weekend and, ooh, I'm not in school, that kind of thing. Big Dave's asking if there's still some crazy weather out there. Apparently there is. Some words from Oklahoma earlier is that it's not. Jim Brown died. Voodoo. Did not see that. Tim had the both of something during the week. Oh, the Jetsons and the Flintstones, I'm guessing. Yes, Tramper Scott, I'm not saying. Uh-oh, Taciturn Richard is contesting Big Dave's trivia here. He says there were 75 episodes of the Jetsons over 3 seasons. Big Country Briar says he gets a dank basement musty taste from Big and Burly. Blech. Not good. I don't get that. I just get a lot of Kia. Ron Hardcracker's smoking 3 fryers in a brand new Norman Rockwell Missouri Meerschaum cob pipe. Well, that is nice. Big Dave says they'll be skiing in northern Arizona until the end of May. It's been cold here. We had, not here, but very close by, we had a freeze warning. Not last night, the night before. So it been Wednesday night, I think. So the farm where our CSA is had to cover stuff up. And I had to put the heat on a couple of mornings because it's just been that cold in the house. But it gets up to the 70s, and it's not during the day. It's not unusual weather for May, but at night it's getting a lot colder than typical. We need a checker on Friday, says Michael Case. We're just in it for the fun. It doesn't matter. Yes, Beowulf and Miss Kathy. Pipe Ninja does seem to be a little bit of a storm magnet. You got a fire going, Dry Fly Fisher. Yeah, it's not warm, that's for sure. Overture hit the lights. I got it, Tim. I didn't get it at first, but yeah, Saturday Cartoons got it. XJ, how's it going, buddy? There's Codger Jim with the forecast, and he's a radio guy, so he knows what he's talking about. Big Country Briar smoking the Croner tonight with a green and white swirl forever stem. Nice. Oh, Eddie, I hate to tease you with this, but if you think 1-year-old Weybridge is good, you gotta stick it away for 6 years. I'll tell you, that stuff is unbelievable. Although I can't say it's not unbelievable after 1 year. I've only had it new or 6 years because I forgot I had some. Okay, Dry Fly Fisher. Wish him a good night for all of us. Yeah, Weybridge and the Luxury Bullseye Flake are two blends that most of the time I don't really notice aging that much. I think it's because I'm mostly a Burley guy and Burley doesn't change that much. But those two blends, boy, I don't even know if it's, people talk about sugar crystals and I don't believe any of that. It's more just about the melding of the flavors and a mellowing. It does mellow. But those two, if you can give them 5 or 6 years, they become amazing. XJ says it's currently 11 degrees Celsius in Wynyard, so it's about 9 where he is. Yeah, that's because you're hanging upside down there, XJ. Oh, Joita, how's it going, buddy? Yep, the sugar crystals are mold. It's been proven. Case closed. And the bloom on your cigars, that's mold too. Some of it's bacteria, but it's like 90% mold. No, it's not bad, Scott. I mean, people have smoked plenty of it thinking it was sugar, so. What's a good burley with some sweetness to it? Asks Welsh Piper. Boy, I don't really go for the sweet. I don't know if something like, I'm more into the deeper, darker stuff, and I'm trying to think of something like the aged burley flake, the Solani would fall into that sweet category. Anybody have a suggestion for that? Yeah, I can't think of. I mean, unless you're talking about something that's mixed with Virginia, obviously. All the hot keeps falling off. That's the problem, XJ. No, Tramper Scott, the fuzzy mold, I brush that off. I don't smoke it. Mushrooms are mold. Yep. And blue cheese has got mold in it. Yeah. We eat a lot of mold. Pegasus is definitely a little sweet, Todd. In fact, at times I find Pegasus to be a little too sweet for my taste. But I'm not sure if that's from the Burley or if it's because that's got Black Cavendish and Virginia in it as well. And I don't know if Welsh Piper was asking specifically for, Burley only, or if he can tolerate some Virginia in there. Tony says Old Joe Krantz Blue. Never had it, but maybe. Poem, I'm from Allentown, now live north of Boston. Prohibits the sale of flavored tobacco, but they go by the name of tobacco only. Yeah. I'm not that far from Allentown, Poem. Hope you're enjoying that area. Ocho Ito would say the Solani too. Yeah, that's the only one I can think of that might be a little on the sweet side. Stanley Smith has got his Baroncini going with Cornell and Deal Briar Fox. Good blend. Piper on the 45. Good to see you tonight. Cole says Old Joe Krantz has a touch of Cavendish like Pegasus. Like Old Joe Krantz white. I haven't tried any of the colored Old Joe Krantzes. Just the original. Oh, XJ, I think if we actually realized all the stuff we ate during the day, we'd... Yeah. Kevin Doolan suggesting Hato's Delight as the Swedish Burley, but that's got a lot going on. Good stuff, though. The Smooth Pipers recommending Burley Delight. Is that the stuff that's supposedly without a bite, but it bites the heck out of me? I think Burley Delight is topped. I could be wrong. Smarty Bob's got his Falcon with some Sir Walter. Looking forward to the last day of the Codger Challenge. Yes, I like Old Joe Krantz, the original Old Joe Krantz. Not as much as Haunted Bookshop. I mean, I definitely prefer the Haunted Bookshop, but it's a nice occasional treat. Two different blends. Okay, Smooth Piper, I had it wrong. So Burley Delight is something that I'm not familiar with then. Not to be confused with Turkish Delight or Rapper's Delight. The latter of which was a song invented by the people that used to package the Turkish Delight. Oh, Kevin Doolan got his Bing's favorite. Fantastic. Gonna maybe have the first smoke tonight. They're good pipes. Just be careful taking the stem out. They're very easy to crack. They don't crack, just like knocking them around, no, but taking the stem out seems to be the Achilles heel of those pipes. So just turn it carefully and take it out slowly. Mushroom Leg wants to know the secret to weight loss. There really isn't one, Mushroom Leg. I mean, I'll tell you two things. The first one is really obvious, which is you eat less and you move more. And I know that's condescending, but that's really the truth. That's what did it for me. The other thing is, get some kind of program where you're tracking your weight, getting weighed daily, recording everything you eat. And I've made a video about this. I use the Noom program, which I highly recommend. I can't explain it to you, but it really worked. The commercials where they say it's about psychology, but it just works, it's true. It worked really well for me. So that would be my suggestion. But the bottom line is you just got to decrease calories, increase calorie burn. Yeah, it's a tight stem, Kevin, and I believe Savinelli makes that tenon out of something. It's not Delrin, and it snaps easily. And they do that on purpose so that you don't break the shank. It's easier to replace a tenon than it is to fix a shank. Although some people, like my buddy Couch, have been able to crack the shank as well. So you gotta be careful with them. But they're wonderful pipes, other than that one tiny engineering problem. They shouldn't make them filtered. If they made them non-filtered, they could thicken things up a little bit. Yes, letting them cool well definitely helps. Oh, thank you, Cole. So Beans says hello to everybody and good smokes. Good to hear from Beans. Oh no. Really, Steve? Someone's finger was in your beanie weenies? Stress is not a good way to lose weight, Couch. It may be effective, but it's got other problems with it. A tapeworm is another remedy there, Tramper Scott. But I'm guessing you're just eating like you have one, not losing weight like you have one. It's a great suggestion, Steve Russell. If you ever have a stuck stem, one that won't turn, put it in the freezer for 10 minutes and it usually fixes it. Occupied wheelchair is work. Certainly, actually. Todd lost 40 pounds by eating foods with only one ingredient. Todd, this sounds like a setup. What was that one ingredient? I don't know if they sell replacement stems, Kevin. I don't think they do because they'll tell you that you have to send it back. I'm sure they'll replace the stem for you. But that tenon replacement is something that pretty much any pipe guy can do. Any pipe repair guy. Yes, Couch only smokes 4 dots and none hills now. Oh, it's kind of you to say, Smarty Bob. Yeah, Brian Woodward, I know folks like that that they lose weight and then they have trouble keeping at that level. Not that they gain the weight, but they actually continue to go down. I've known a couple folks that had that problem. I seem to be really lucky. I mean, I've gained over the holidays. I gained about 10 pounds, and I've been struggling to try to lose that, but I've been pretty stable other than that. That's interesting, Poem. Lost weight when he stopped drinking coffee. I'm curious, did you put creamer in your coffee? Because I was surprised at how many calories come from creamer. Meat and vegetables, no pre-made or processed food. That's a good, yeah, processed food is evil. Low carb, that definitely helps. Ochoita says he stayed clear of buying on all beyond that golf tee emblem. I don't know what the golf tee emblem is, Ochoita. Sorry. Ron is going to go for Old Joe Krantz next after the three friars. I got some McBaron Scottish mixture. Good stuff. Pipe Writer says nothing like some haunted bookshop and a supersized Eugene Rich custom built. There you go. Yeah, Flint Hill. I think I could be a champ at putting them back on if I wanted to. If I wasn't careful, I gotta be careful. But it's not like it's a chore though. I mean, I like eating what I eat. Oh no! Oh God, Big Country Briar, no! XJ says if I lose any more weight, he's calling an ambulance. That's funny. Thank you, XJ. I never thought anybody would say that about me. So that's interesting, Pong. That it irritates the stomach, and yeah, that is very interesting. Ice cream pie and cake. That'll do it, Gary. You know, that's this, I see Tramper Scott talking about the acid buildup in the stomach and it makes you think you're hungry. That's the kind of stuff that Noom goes into. And you don't even remember it, to be honest, but it just makes you think about the food a different way. You know, you eat something and you say, gee, I'm still hungry after I ate that. I wonder if it's the food rather than I didn't eat enough food. And then the next time you'll choose something different that's going to fill you better. And it just changes the way you think about it, but in a very subtle, non-preachy way. I feel like I'm doing a commercial for them, which I'm not. There's plenty of other programs that probably work just as well, but that's the one that worked for me. Going for a walk is a good thing, Kevin. And you know the one thing I learned is that it doesn't really the intensity of the exercise really isn't that important. You know, you run a mile, you walk a mile, or you just dance around the kitchen while you're making lunch. You're not burning that many more calories running the mile compared to what you're probably eating. It's not that big of a difference. Exercise really doesn't burn calories. Exercise builds muscle, which burns calories when you're at rest. That's one of the real benefits of exercise. But you're not going to burn off the food you eat. Ah, so taciturn Richard has corrected. So it turns out that both are right, I guess. So the Jetsons was canceled after the first season, but then it was brought back in the 80s with additional episodes. So technically, both were right. Good that we got that settled. Thank you, Richard. You can't outrun a bad diet. That's the truth, Scott. That is the truth. And I really hope I'm not sounding like I'm preaching or anything. There was nothing worse for me when I was heavy than to hear people that were thin telling me how to lose weight. I thought that was a terrible thing, and uh, yeah. So you can only tell somebody what works for you. You can't tell them what's going to work for them. Or a mad bear, says Gary Edmonton. You can't outrun one of those either. And you know, I just recently learned that most bears can climb trees. So unless you're a bear whisperer like our buddy Steve, stay away from bears. You also cannot outrun a starving cheetah, but if you're being chased by a mad bear and a starving cheetah, if you run just fast enough, the cheetah will catch the bear and you'll be okay. I don't think a bear and a cheetah have ever met. That would be a terrible thing. Yeah, I don't want to see that. Kevin's got the same idea. Just trip the guy next to you. Bears are fast. Andrew Sirigliano, how you doing, Andrew? Lord Hogarth says you only have to run faster than your wife. Well, I think I am done with my haunted bookshop. I still have everything out of reach here. Sorry about that. So, should I open a box? Get a knife. Ah. It's a bit buried. I got 2 boxes here, actually. I'm not going to open both of them, but I got 1. And then I got 2. Both from Pipes and Cigars, both from different sales. They keep getting me. They had like 20% off Haunted Bookshop and then 15% store-wide. And I thought, well, heck, I'm going to jump on that. And I bought 2 pounds of Haunted Bookshop. And I think that's this box. It's lighter. And then, excuse me while I throw that on the floor. And then last week they had, I think it was 15% off site-wide, and they sent me a 10% coupon that I could apply, and they stacked. So I thought, well, heck, I'm going to take advantage of that. So I bought another 2 pounds of Haunted Bookshop. But I had a craving, and honestly, I would not have bought anything, but I had this craving, and I got jars of the stuff, but I didn't feel like opening a jar, so look, I got this knife for $10 from Woodcraft. Double bevel. Came sharp, too. So what do we have here? We've got 2 pounds of Haunted Bookshop. And surprise, surprise, some of you guys are clairvoyant. That's what I've been craving. And that's what we're going to have right now. I do have some of it cellared, but like I said, I just didn't want to open a jar. I don't know why. Well, because I wanted an excuse to buy more. We might as well be honest with ourselves. Yeah, I think they are listening, Kevin. It seems like they usually have the sale right after I order something. So that's what a dive buddy's for, Voodoo. Tim lived on a farm once with a bulimic pig and a donkey with Tourette's. Okay. Is that an LCS white box behind me? No, I don't have any LCS. Do you mean this? No, this is not the... Well, I don't have an LCS. I don't even know why I look. No, it's something else. It's not a pipe. I'm gonna smoke my, this is my Tim Thorpe canted apple, I believe is what he called this. Very Danish. And we're gonna put some of this Old Joe Krantz in it. I'm excited. It's been at least a year since I've had Old Joe Krantz. What was the second tobacco other than the so it was 2 pounds of Haunted Bookshop and a pound of Old Joe Krantz. Cats are good at being bulimic. And reason number 73 to not have cats. Sorry, I know there's cat lovers out there. I'm just not one. That's downright beautiful, Smarty Bob. Lessons from the buffalo. Stand your ground, have a tough hide, keep moving, cherish wide open spaces, roam wild and free, and let the chips fall where they may. I might make a motivational poster out of that for work. Ron, I honestly don't know what the steel is. I'll check and see if it's written on there. Let me get this lit. But I did order from Woodcraft and it was $10. I was ordering something else and I thought, what the heck? I have another knife that I use for a marking knife. It just fits better in my hand. If I leave that open on the bench and I go to grab it, I'm going to cut myself. But it's great for like opening boxes and stuff. It's just a good all-purpose knife to have around. Oh, you got that Ed too, Flint Hill. I think. Oh, it's covered up right now by the saw. I gotta fix that. Um, I think Cole sent me that. I hope I'm remembering that right, which was very nice of him. Texas Piper got one of those moonshine cannonball pipes. Cool. Those Opinels are nice knives too, Todd. I'm not really a knife guy. I know there's people that really get into them. Let me see if this doesn't have any markings on it at all. And I actually have not tried to sharpen it yet, Ron, so I can't tell you how it sharpens, but it came sharp and it's actually been pretty sharp. And for $10, it is what it is, I guess. Holmes says he smoked McBaron Virginia flake cut last weekend. 2 years of age. Could not believe how good it was. Flavor slightly sweet. Sounds good. Yeah, you don't want to drop potato chips where they may. That's not good practice, Tim. Unless you got a beagle. Speaking of beagles and dogs, Couch has got to feed Dingo. Couch, let me know when you're back. I got a story to tell you. Michael Case is asking if I'll be back from vacation by next Friday. I'm not actually going next Friday, Michael. I'm not going until. So the Bruce Hornsby thing is May 31st. And I'm going to be leaving over Memorial Day weekend for that one and coming back on Thursday. And I don't think we're leaving until Monday to go to the beach. So I don't think I'm going to miss any Fridays, but I'll let you know as we come along. But it's not going to be until after Memorial Day. I hope I didn't just say Labor Day. I get those confused. Yes, Brian, I've heard folks say that. But of course, I lie about how much I paid for some pipes. Paul Johnson's been smoking half and half for a month in the same pipe. Yeah, I don't know. You guys are better than I am. I couldn't do it. It is an endurance event, Lord Hogarth. It's apparently smoke one tobacco and one pipe for a month. Ah, Piper on the 45's asking about the wood chisels. I think the brand was Woodbridge, something like that. I've got a blog post that's mostly written. I got some video that I want to edit together to stick into it. They, you know, they perform fine. Um, they're not the nicest chisels in terms of the hand feel and the bevels on them and stuff, but they sharpen up fine and they work. Tim, do you want me to wear a Bruce Hornsby concert T-shirt? I'll do that for you. Yeah, Ron, that's a good point. It would be great for fire making for sure. Steve Russell is asking if anyone knows how many people have shaved their beards. I'd say quite a few, Steve. Yeah, I agree, Scott. I think that Harbor Freight gets a bad rap. I mean, granted, you're not getting, you can go out and you can buy a Lee Nelson or a blue spruce chisel, and you can spend. I mean, it seems ridiculous, but you can spend like $200-300 on one chisel, and the things are beautiful. You're almost afraid to use them. They're so pretty. Uh, but they're really not going to work much better. They're not going to make you a better woodworker, that's for sure. Ever made a pipe stem out of wood? I have not, Beowulf and Miss Kathy. That would be interesting to try. I would, being a clencher, I don't think it would work well for me. So far, so good with the garden, Robert Miller. So far, so good, but it's only been a week. Steph and Skip Kane, how you doing, Steph? Good to see you. She says Skip shaves his beard several times and then grows it back out. And I see a couple folks saying they're never going to shave again. Oh, there's a beard challenge going on. Is that why it came up, Codger Jim? Best kinds of chisels are the sharp ones, Neil Day, for sure. That's another thing, man. You can get me on a soapbox about chisels and sharpening that you don't want me on, because there's this whole industry. So I got nothing against people wanting pretty tools. You know, if that's what you want, you know, I own some Lie-Nielsen tools and I wouldn't part with them. They're wonderfully made. They're top quality. Uh, my favorite saws are Lie-Nielsen, and they're, you know, one of those saws. I bought every other saw I own, which are all like used distance saws that I reconditioned for less than the cost of one of the Lie-Nielsen saws. But I like them. You know, I like using them. There's nothing wrong with that. But sharpening is a whole other kettle of fish. And boy, there's so much nonsense about sharpening on the internet that, you know, we've been sharpening chisels on a piece of rock for hundreds of years and making some very beautiful furniture. And now we're being told that you need to have 16 grades of ultra fine water stones and everything else. It's just crazy. Gall. Voodoo says that Bones sells an all briar miniature pipe with a briar stem, and it's a surprisingly cool smoke. Interesting. Patrick Grant, how you doing, buddy? I used to shave every morning, Big Dave, and that's what I did. Double-edged three-piece razor, yep. Mug and shaving brush and hard shaving soap. That's exactly what I loved it. Um, but now I just once a week run a pair of clippers all over, and it's done. Hey, creator of the Boundless Universe, good to see you. What's a good lathe to start for a workman's price? Do you mean a wood lathe or a metal lathe? Pipe Ninja, still working in the garden. Hey, hope the hoeing is going well. Cliff was out hoeing today. 17 feet long. My goodness, that's a long beard. A wood lathe. Okay. Well, that narrows it down a bit. Kind of depends on what you want to do with it as well. I wouldn't get one of those mini lathes. Get more of a midi lathe. And you know what I did was I went and got one off of oh, what is that sales site that people use? The local, you know, you I can't think of what it's called right now, but you I found somebody that was selling a used one, and I thought I'd have to like change belts on it and stuff. I actually have never done anything with it, and it's now my buffing station, and that served me well for years. I think I paid like $120 for it, and it came with a grinder. Uh, so look into used lathes, but if you want to buy one new, you just research it. You, you can Craigslist. Thank you, Tessinger Richard. That's what I was trying to remember. Um, you can certainly find, yes, lots of people now saying Craigslist. I don't know why I couldn't think of it. You can find you know, nice ones at places like Woodcraft, but they're probably going to be more expensive than if you looked at some place like um, Grizzly. Grizzly has some pretty good quality stuff at a reasonable price. Ryan Woodward saying Harbor Freight mini lathe is good and cheap unit to try turning. Yeah, it would be a cheap buffing system. The one thing to look for though is make sure you get variable speed with you know, an electronic variable speed rather than having to change the belts. You'll have to change the belts anyway to go from uh, low to high, but then you'll have a range within low and medium and high, and that's a lot better than some of the ones that don't have that variable speed and everything's belt change. Skip lost Wi-Fi and dropped off the map at 4-ish. Pray for the boat workers on the East Coast near New York and Connecticut. Absolutely, Steph. So yes, let's keep those folks in prayer. I guess there's some storm activity out there. Kevin Doolin says, if I want to start making wood tampers, what tools would I need and materials? That's a whole... Could talk a lot about that, Kevin. I mean, you could do it with wood and a knife if you wanted to. You know, it's really up to you. I guess a wood lathe would be a great thing, but even something like a sander, you know, if you wanted to use a sander to shape it, you could do that. Storm, got it, Steph. Well, we'll definitely keep those folks in our prayers. White Ash Piper Squared is asking cotton balls or salt for, I guess you mean deghosting a bowl? I've never used the cotton balls. I prefer the salt. But I only do the salt treatment for really severe ghosts, and I always follow it with a retort. The retort is really the best option, but the salt will draw things out in some cases that the retort can't get. Phil Rivera, how you doing, Phil? You could build yourself a treadle lathe, XJ. It's something I always wanted to do. Something I wanted to mention. Let me get my... Make sure I got the information here. There's an event this Monday, and I know a lot of you folks are not in this area, but I know other folks will watch this, so I hope you don't mind that I do a little commercial for this. I'm not going to be able to go because my wife's got me doing stuff, but I'd love to be there if I could. And it's to benefit veterans. It's a food drive for vets. And let me just find this. So it's this coming Monday, which is the 22nd from 6 to 9 p.m. at Union Cigars in Carlisle, Carlisle Street in Hanover, Pennsylvania. So that's near Gettysburg. And I got a little thing to put up here. Hopefully this works. There, hopefully you can see that. So the idea is that this is going to be a food drive for vets. Ghost Cobb, our buddy Sean Ghost Cobb, is involved with this. And they will have prizes, door prizes that are donated by Bishop Pipes, Morgan Pipes, and Missouri Meerschaum. And to get entered in the drawing, all you have to do is bring 3 non-perishable food items. So if anybody's in that area, the Harrisburg, Carlisle area, Hanover, Pennsylvania, Union Cigar, Monday, May 22nd, 6 to 9 p.m. Hope you don't mind the plug, but it's for a really good cause. White Ash, are you asking still about the cotton balls or salt? So salt or a retort was the other thing. I've got videos on both of those. If you look on my channel, I've got a playlist that's called something like pipe maintenance, and one of them is on deghosting using salt treatment, and I think there's one on a retort. There was a noise? I don't know what the noise was. It is shameful, Lord Hogarth, but it's good that we do it. Sound like Mary. I've got some sound effects that are set up from like old games that we played and stuff, and I wonder if when I switched, one of those accidentally played because I think I had one that kind of sounded like a video game thing. Yeah, white ash, a retort is a way to sort of boil alcohol and push the alcohol vapor through the pipe. But watch the video. It's really long, but it's pretty comprehensive. No, it's not a Linux thing, Couch. It's an OBS thing because I messed up. Oh, I think a lot of folks found it from the pipe restoration stuff, Cole. That was certainly what got me started, and I wish I had the time to still do them. It's interesting. I look every once in a while just to see what videos people are watching. Like, did more people watch the Friday night live stream or the Sunday chat thing? Oh, I'm way off to the side here, aren't I? I'm drifting out of shot. And what's amazing is every time I do that, you look at like the top 5 or 10 videos that people have watched in and I've got, if you count the live streams, I've got like 700 some videos. And the silly little corncob pipe videos I made, the one on pipe mudding them and cob modding and stuff, they're always in the top 10. So it's just really interesting. That's what folks are looking for. I see a lot of guys saying they found it through the restoration. That is cool. And Palm, thank you. I appreciate that. And I tell you, I appreciate these because for me it's a chance to smoke a pipe with friends, and I don't get that any other way. So I never took the reins from matches, Kevin. I don't like that. Nobody could do that. I just wanted to fill a gap temporarily, give folks a place to get together, and then COVID happened, and it seemed even more important, and I found myself really enjoying it. But nah, no, nobody can take those reins. Wow, I've had influence on a lot of you guys with the cob modding and the pipe mods. That's great to see. That's a nice way to think about it, Poem. Ah, Phil, that's kind of you, but I don't know. I don't know about how close. Second for sure. I don't know about close second, but it's very kind of you. But this old Joe Krantz is as good as I remembered it. It's a lot sweeter than Haunted Bookshop. And this is funny. Speaking of matches, this is something that we used to go back and forth about. He was of the opinion that the difference between Haunted Bookshop and Old Joe Krantz was that Old Joe Krantz had, I think he thought it had more Perique in it, and I was convinced it had more Virginia in it, more of the red Virginia. And it's funny how two people, we had pretty similar palates. We usually like the same stuff, and that was just one thing that we never agreed on. That and the big and burly Latakia thing, which he teased me about a lot. Backcountry Pipe, how you doing? Bowl of Peterson Irish Flake, good stuff. I just finished up that tin that I opened whatever night. I opened it on St. Patrick's Day. I just finished it last week. Yeah, Scott, it's that's true. A lot of people say more Perique, and Cornell and Deal says more Red Virginia. I taste the Red Virginia. I think it's much sweeter than Haunted Bookshop. Nearly killed you with both, Phil. Bacon old fashioned. I to this day will not touch this stuff because I know that our palates were similar enough that I would find that stuff to be awful. Ah, Couch is smoking Irish flake while walking the dog. So, Couch, if you're listening, I had something terrible happen this week. My Ilva mug has got a chip in it. I'm very disappointed in that. Couch sent me a mug with Ilva on it, which I cherish, but unfortunately it somehow got chipped. I didn't chip it. I don't think either of the dogs chipped it, but my wife says she definitely did not chip it. So if you still have a link for that, I would like to get I want to buy a new one. It does add character, Couch. I'm just afraid it's going to crack. It just got chippy. That's right, Tim. It just got chippy. I don't put it in the dishwasher, Smarty Bob. Don't worry about it, Couch. It's okay. Yeah, I could probably fix it with some epoxy. It's a good idea, XJ. That's my problem too, Tim. laughing at Phil's MRE stories. Those videos are great. No, Voodoo, I do not rinse the pipe with water. Um, because I worry it would be hard to get the water to dry out. So after I do a salt treatment, I just swab it out with the same alcohol that I would use for the salt treatment. All right, Steve and Kathy, have a good night, my friends, and yeah, we'll talk tomorrow, I hope. Tim wears his sunglasses at night, so he can, so he can. I have no idea what the next line is. Selly's porcelain epoxy. I'll have to look for that, XJ. It is a white mug, so that would be perfect. Yeah, Tim, you can use gin or vodka. It's they work. I don't like to do that just because they've got more water in them, but as long as you let it dry out a bit, it's fine. I mean, they're both pretty high alcohol. I don't know about gin, but vodka is like 50%, so. Couch, I'm sure it wasn't Elva's fault. Gin does a good job on that, Richard. Ugh. Welch's frozen grape concentrate to clean your pipe, Phil. That is disgusting. Oh, Tim, is it cold gin time again? Oh, geez. I hope I didn't mess things up. An EA pipe run the 45, an EA carry pipe with a loose insert. Where is the insert? I'm not familiar with the carry pipes. Is it in the shank or is it in the stem? And I probably wouldn't use Elmer's. You could try it, but that'll get soft with heat. So if it's anywhere near the tobacco chamber, although that's what I use to hold the cob shanks in, so maybe it'll be fine. But probably something like a super glue, cyanoacrylate, or even an epoxy. Yes, creator John was a master storyteller. I can watch his video 30 times and it still makes me laugh. It's his delivery. It's like watching an old movie or something. You've seen it so many times and you still get that enjoyment out of it. It could have been a jealous dog. I often show them the mug and tell them they should be more like Ilva. Oh, Phil, toothache. Yeah. Oh, it's a reverse tendon. Okay. And that came out of the shank, I'm assuming. So, yeah, Piper on the 45, it's probably best to use something like epoxy on that. But you got to be careful because that's obviously going to be harder to reverse. Yeah, the Everclear on the Q-tip reminded me. My mom used to do that, and when we were babies, that's what we got for teething. She would dip her finger in whiskey and rub it on our gums. Probably don't do that anymore. Doug Owen, good to see you, buddy. That's okay. Cardinals are more important, right? Uh-oh, we're getting some barking up there. That might be my wife coming home. She's been out shopping. Uh, I got a funny dog story for you though, while Isabel's up there barking. They're okay. I let them out before I came down, so I know they're not barking to go out. Um, it, so Isabel, I was walking through the dining room yesterday and laying on the floor. So we had Chinese food a couple nights ago, and didn't eat the fortune cookies because I don't like fortune cookies. And must have left them sitting up on the stove, and apparently Isabel helped herself to a fortune cookie because laying on the floor in the dining room was the wrapper to the fortune cookie, and hilariously right next to it was the fortune just laid out next to it. A couple of tooth marks in it, but still very readable. And the fortune was, and this is, I wish I had it so I could read it verbatim, but as close as I can remember it, it was humans invented language so they would have the ability to complain. I just thought, if a dog's going to show you a fortune, that's the fortune it should show you. That's good advice, Phil. Rough scribe it, file it up or something. Get it rough so that the epoxy has something to grab onto. All right, Tramper Scott, thanks for joining us, buddy. Thank you, XJ. I appreciate that. I'll take a look at that tomorrow. Play the lotto numbers on the back. I probably should, Phil. Well, that's something, Doug. The Phils have been up and down and up and down. Man, we got 10 minutes to go and I barely touched this. Yes, fire is hot these days, Tim. Oh, that's funny, Phil. Swapping the fortune out. Creator of the boundless universe. I've done that with estate pipes. If they were in really bad shape, just soak the whole bowl. You can do it, but you have to be real careful drying it out. And honestly, I don't know unless it's really, really bad. I wouldn't, and you're going to ruin the finish too. So you're going to have to refinish the pipe if you do that. Chug, chug, chug indeed, Cole. Sir Zenith, good to see you. Oh, that's good, Phil. The bread is how they get you. The other fortune cookie story I have is back when I was in college. I went to a Chinese restaurant with a couple of friends, and the waitress came out with the glasses of water and tripped, and the entire tray, it was like 5 glasses of water, landed in my friend's lap, completely soaked him. And they were very apologetic and everything. It was fine. He got a couple of napkins and dried himself off, and we ate. But he was wet. And then the fortune cookies came out at the end of the meal, and when he cracked his open, his fortune was, "You will be getting some new clothes." You have to wonder if they didn't plan that. Piper on the 45. So you didn't hear the answer? Basically, epoxy would be your best bet, and make sure, as Phil suggested, that you score the insert before you epoxy it in so that the epoxy has something to grab onto. It's like take a file or some sandpaper or something and just rough it up. Why are we talking about Diana Rigg, Tim? I haven't been able to find it, Phil. I checked when I went to the grocery store and they didn't have it. And they've got a pretty good selection there, but I got to go to the beer distributor and look. I really want to try the guava cart. That looks like a good beer. Emma Peel. Yeah, I know who Diana Rigg is. I'm just wondering why we're talking about her, Phil. It's like not knowing who John Wayne is. Indeed, Gary. JB Weld is a good brand, XJ. I really like the G Flex. I use that for just about everything. I like it because oh, there you go. Phil's recommending it now. Marine West G Flex 650. Yeah, it's a great epoxy. The nice thing about it is it doesn't get snappy, so it stays a little bit flexible, which just helps with holding. Big Country Briar, I do that to my wife every time we open a fortune cookie. I tell her my fortune is, and I read the lucky numbers. So apparently I think like one of the kids. Oh, Doug brought her up. Okay, Tim, I missed it. Oh, Doug. Yeah, that would be embarrassing. Tire tray of dirty dishes in the middle of a group. Yeah. Oh, the hot. You know what's hot? Okay, I got you now, Doug. I'm all caught up. Coffee Purple Monkey dishwasher. Wow, Jim, that sounds like sometimes I'll buy beer just based on the price, but just based on the name. I shouldn't have said price. I do sometimes buy beer just based on the price. But no, if I'm out to dinner and they've got a nice list, I will often buy something like Coffee Purple Monkey dishwasher just because the name is intriguing. I'm usually disappointed. Okay, creator, is that what you're asking about dunking? Stanwell pot. I'm trying to remember the pipe that I did the dunk on. One of my early restoration videos, I think it was an LL Bean restoration. It was either LL Bean or the Dr. What was that Dr. pipe? Not Dr. Graybow. Well, anyway, if you look at my early restoration videos, like the first, might have even been the first restoration series I did. I did an alcohol dunk. So you could take a look at that if you want. Yeah, it does retain its strength exposed to heat, Phil, and yeah, and it's 24-hour cure. That's a good point. But much to my chagrin, it retains its heat tolerability because I've got a whole set of cob stems that I messed up that I'd really like to get the Delrin tendons out of, and I can't. I mean, the only way I'm going to get them out is to grind away the acrylic. Help! I'm trapped in a fortune cookie factory. It's a good one, Doug. Gary's voting for Marianne. Okay, I think Marianne wins. I think she's gotten more votes than Ginger at this point. Well, Jim, I think I can remember that name, so if I see it, I'll give it a try. Was it Dr. Plum? I don't think it was Dr. Plum. I think it was Dr. Roberts, actually. Or maybe it was Mr. Roberts. Dr. Roberts was a Beatles song. I think it was Mr. Roberts. Yeah, I've got two LL Beans, and I love them, Phil. They were cool pipes. It's the only pipe I've had that has one of those wacky, gimmicky filter systems where you put a loop of pipe cleaner in the shank. It actually works in that pipe. Stinger, I never had a stinger or anything like that work, but the condenser in the LL Bean pipe, I think actually does work. Yes, Michael remembers it. In Flint Hill, there were LL Bean pipes. There was also LL Bean tobacco, which was, I believe, just Edgeworth repackaged. Mariana's come up every week for the last 10 years, says Doug. Oh no, no, okay, okay. Creator of the Boundless Universe has opened up a new can of worms here. No, wait a minute. I'm actually agreeing with you. I was thinking Lily Munster and when I read Morticia Adams. So Lily Munster and Morticia Adams, and I'm definitely in the Morticia camp on that one, creator. Sorry, I disagreed. I was thinking one thing and reading another. No, it's not like the Falcon voodoo. This actually has it's in the shank of the pipe, and it's underneath a metal condenser with a slot in it. So the idea is as you draw the air through it, the moisture is condensing in the metal and falling out that slot and collecting on the pipe cleaner. It's a really interesting, and it does seem to work. It's a really interesting method. Oh, that's unfortunate, XJ. Yeah, that JB Weld stuff is tough stuff. I don't actually know who made the LL Bean pipes, Doug. I might have looked it up for that LL Bean video. If you, I'm not plugging my videos, but that would be my reference for it. Yeah, that's a good idea, Phil, to put the pipe cleaner in the calabash cup. I have one of those The Pipe Michael case, and I've never smoked it. It's in my collection of pipes I've never smoked, which is an embarrassing collection. Yeah, Grown Up Wednesday is something else, Lord Hogarth. I hope they come out with another season of that. I enjoyed that show. Juma Pipes uses two springs pressed together in the shank to collect moisture. Moisture. Interesting. Oh, we're doing Elvira and Morticia now? So we just dropped Lily, huh? Doug thinks it might have been Weber. They have confirmed season two, Patrick. That's good. I've got one episode left of a really good, well, I thought it was good series on Netflix called Biohackers. It's a German show, and I really enjoyed because I know a little bit of German from high school, not enough to brag about or anything, but I watched it with the English subtitles and tried to see how much I could understand of the German, which turned out to be almost nothing. But you can watch it; it's dubbed as well, so you can watch it in English, and it's really good. It's a very suspenseful uh, sort of mystery type show that involves laboratories and biohacking and such. Um, I really recommend it, but they stopped making it. So I don't know how this last episode's going to go, but they got a lot to tie up in one episode, and it's a shame if they stopped it while there's a cliffhanger or something. I'm going to be very disappointed. I do believe the bean pipe does say imported briar, Doug, if I'm remembering right. I'll try to remember. I'll smoke the LL bean next week. I've got two of them. I'll smoke one of them next week. Phil says that it was Briarcraft. Okay. They made a lot of pipes too. Silo and the Outer Range were both good, says Phil. I don't think I've seen either of those. I'll have to take a look. Yeah, that's true, XJ. The dubbing never quite matches up. German up in a in a neat little package, Lord Hogarth. Jim PM says Dark was really twisting and good. I think I watched the beginning of that and thought this is something I'll have to follow up on, but I never got back to it. Just haven't had much time. Couch used to be fluid in German. Well, Couch, we're going to have to try to converse someday. I'm sure I'll be terrible, but oh, that's cool, Cole. To Carter Hall pack with the pipe included. Very cool. Well, folks, we've gone a bit over because I'm a slow drinker, so let me finish this up and we will bring this to a close. I want to thank you all for joining me. Again, if anybody's in the area on Monday and can make it to Union Cigar, it's a really good cause and sounds like it's going to be a great time. And you get to hang out with Ghost Cobb, so who could ask for more than that? Uh, with that, I'm going to call this to a close. I thank you all for joining me. I had a great time, as I always do, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. So I'll be back on Sunday with a video as usual, and we'll be back next Friday. So until then, you all take care, and we'll speak again real soon. And I still can't get the hotkeys to work, so it's going to take a minute. Night all.